Hello, wonderful people. Welcome back once again. So, as I promised in my previous chapati video, here is my breakfast chapati recipe. And unlike the previous recipe, this one is made with butter and milk. This chapati is so soft and super tasty. And you can serve it for breakfast, like I did here. So, to make this recipe, measure 4 cups of all purpose flour onto a bowl. Make sure they are flattened at the top. And then to this flour, add 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. This chapati is meant to be a little sweet and a little savory. So mix in the dry ingredients. Then I'm using half a cup of unsalted butter. Melt it and have it ready. I'm also using 2 cups of whole milk. Cold is okay. So just add a little milk at a time and knead the dough. You can use your hands, make sure they're clean, or you can use a mixer. So keep adding milk. At this point, I think I added a little bit too much milk, and so my dough was too soft. So I just set the remaining milk aside, and I added about 3 tablespoons of flour because I needed my dough to be firm at this point. So, because when I add in the melted butter, the dough is gonna get softer. So you don't want it to get too soft. So look at the consistency of the dough here. As soon as all the flour is absorbed into the dough, go ahead and add the melted butter. It's 1 stick of butter, again, half a cup. So this chapati is going to be very buttery. So just go ahead and knead the dough with the butter until it is very smooth and of a uniform consistency. Make sure you get all of that butter into the dough. Yeah, keep kneading until the dough is very smooth, and then form it, shape it into a ball like so, and sprinkle some flour onto whatever surface you'll be placing it in, and then just cover your dough and let it rest. It's gonna relax and it's gonna be very easy to work with. So after the dough is rested for about 15 minutes or more, go ahead and sprinkle flour onto the surface that you're working on, and then we're gonna introduce layers to our dough. Now, because my work surface is smaller, I am cutting my dough into 2 pieces and working with one at a time. If you have a larger surface, you don't have to cut your dough into 2 pieces. So go ahead and roll the dough out. Do not knead it again at this point. Just roll the dough out. The thinner, the better, because then you'll have more layers on your chapati. And then melt another, I didn't mention this, but yeah, you need more melted butter for this step. So go ahead and apply a thin layer of melted butter and then sprinkle flour all over the dough, and then roll it up as I'm doing in the video. This is gonna ensure that your chapati is layered up, and you know it's gonna cook better. For one thing, it cooks well, but it's also tastier and just better looking with the layers. So once you have a big roll like this one, go ahead and cut your chapati into pieces. Now you can cut bigger pieces than this, you can cut smaller pieces. I like my breakfast chapati a little smaller than the regular chapati, but it doesn't really matter. You can go big. And once you're done doing that, go ahead and shape each piece into a nice and round circle so that you'll later roll those into your chapatis. So just press onto them, and if you have any loose ends, go ahead and tuck those in like I'm doing here. Just tuck it in like that. Keep your sizes even, of course. You want your chapatis to be of the same size. So I did the same with the second piece of the dough that I had. Handle the dough gently as you do this because it gets too stretchy and it could mess with your, the shapes of your chapatis. So now I have all of the pieces ready. Now we're gonna move on to the next step, which is rolling the chapati out and then cooking. So keep the pieces covered at all time because they could dry out, and then sprinkle a little flour as you start rolling the chapati to cook because too much flour will end up darkening your chapati when you're cooking it. So again, having control on that rolling pin allows you to have a round chapati. So um, yeah, just keep rolling and flipping and making sure it got some flour on it, because when the flour is gone, it's gonna stick on the rolling pin and lose the shape. So that one is ready. As we roll the second one, I wanted to point out that have your chapatis thin, but not too thin, like translucent thin. No, just have them thin enough, because thicker chapatis are going to be chewy and the middle is just going to be not so good. So keep them thin, but I hope you can see the thinness in mine as I roll them. Again, if the flour is gone, you can sprinkle a little more flour. Just don't use too much of it, because um, yeah, like I said, the loose flour will darken in the pan and make the chapati a little darker. So these two pieces are ready. So that's my demo for rolling. So now let's move on to cooking. So the one thing I want to point out, of course, is heat. Do not use too high heat or too low heat either. Just keep your heat on maybe medium towards medium high, and butter burns really quickly on the pan. So you want to watch that. If you see the pan beginning to burn, you can reduce the heat. So cook your chapati, flip it over, and apply a little bit more butter. At this stage, you're just applying a little bit of butter to add on the crispiness on the exterior and also that browning. Um, Keep checking, of course, once it's browned enough, flip it. I'm using this egg slice to kind of like press on the chapati to ensure it browns uniformly, because once it starts rising, some parts are gonna brown and some parts are not going to brown. So see, so when you press on it, it cooks quite uniformly and it looks good. Let's cook the second one, and maybe the last one. Again, let it set and then flip when it's getting to get the brown spots, and then apply butter. Some people would use oil at this stage because butter burns really quickly. As you can see, my pan is kind of smoking, but that chapati is not getting burnt. No, I have my heat right. It's just the butter misbehaving. Yeah, so again, your chapati rising when you're cooking it is a good sign, because it shows that the layers indeed are in there and your chapati is cooking through and through. So once it's ready, you take it off the heat and keep cooking. So I am done with the demo for cooking. So now we'll go ahead and see the final results of all the chapatis that I made. So as they come out of the heat, they are a little firm, which is understandable. But after you're done cooking, if you're not serving this immediately, cover them and let them soften like so. But that's not necessary at all. When they come out and they are a little firm on the exterior, they are really crunchy and they taste good. And I actually love them that way. So yeah, now let's go ahead and take a look again. They fold very neatly. Because we used butter, you wanna you wanna eat your chapati warm. When it's cold, it's going to be tough and a little, I wanna say chewy, because butter solidifies. So keep your chapati warm to enjoy it better. See how layered they are and how soft they tear. And I'm telling you, these chapatis taste amazing, because we have butter and we have milk. And then the taste of sugar and salt combined is just the best. These chapatis beat pancakes, they beat donuts, they are the best. So try this recipe. It's not difficult to make. I think anyone can make it. If your chapatis don't come out neatly round, that's okay. The taste is what matters. So serve them for breakfast, like I did here, with some Kenyan tea, or whatever drink you like, and enjoy. I'll see you in another video. That's it for today. Bye bye.